If, like me, you're the proud owner of a lovely little Mavic Air, but you're sick of having to do this every single time, I might have the fix for you. So every time you go out in the field, you got to fuss around with these silly little joystick knobs like that and worry about cross-threading them and then put your phone in and away you go and piss off the neighbours. I thought, why not, this is like an unboxing, but not an unboxing, why not buy a set of stalks, which are a couple of dollars. They're $4 or something like that. Basically, machine them down so that they are always permanently mounted like that, but rather than having to have a long stalk that's that long, have one that's machined down and only small, because you can actually fly this just with your thumbs, but you just need a little bit more purchase. This is our bog standard, as supplied, OEM Mavic Air Jiffy bag, and obviously the controller. And the idea is that I want to be able to put the stalks on, leave the stalks on and slide it in there, which means that I probably have, if I would sort of slide a ruler in there, I've probably got about 10 mil to play with. So if I take one of the stalks, sort of blown up here, and the idea is that I cut it off at about there, so that would be not more than 10 mil. Slide a bit of wood over the top with a hole drilled in the center, and then just put basically some manually cut knurling or cross hatching on the top, just a little bit of grip, and you might even, you know, be a bit swanky and round those corners off. Anyway, I'm going to try that. I've actually got two sets of these. I can't work out why. I can't remember if I actually bought two pairs, because you definitely don't have four thumbs on a controller. Alright, so if 10 mils is our limit, our absolute physical limit, then we really want to have a little bit of meat left on. So I'm going to cut this around about probably the 5 or 6 mil mark, which will give me probably only about 3 millimeters of shaft along here. And then I'm going to slip a little something on the end of it, just a tiny bit of dowel timber, and I can play with that because I've got, you know, plenty of options here. And just see, it's just got to feel comfortable under the top of your thumb. And I just think that cut off sharp won't feel very comfortable. It's got a tiny little nick mark in the shaft, a little bit hard to cut and hold. It's only aluminium, so it's very soft. And there we go. I'm just going to pull that off, work hard on it, and there we go. One tiny little shaft. So that's okay, but still feels a little bit sharp under the old thumbaroo. So I'm still going to put a little wooden shaft on that, drilled out, just to make that a little bit nicer on the finger. But critically, I'll just see if this fits into the bag with the control stick on, and just to check for height and upside down miss chain, just see if that goes in any which way, and it does. So that length is pretty much bang on. I don't want to go any longer than that for sure. I've cut and sanded the other one, so you can both see them both sitting proud about. I'll just measure that. A bit hard to tell possibly, but that is, yeah, about 6 mil on each side there. But I've just had an epiphany. I thought, why don't I actually try and drill out, flatten these off, these stubs off that I've cut, and drill them out so that I can actually slide on there like a little telescoping jobby. Because this is a incredibly high precision workshop and not, I'm going to grab my good old calipers. I'm just going to find out exactly, there you go, 3.82 millimeters, just so I can make sure. 3.78 millimeters, so 3.8 mil, that's the number to beat. So that's the diameter of the drill that I want to use to drill out these, basically the inside of these little, the top knobs that I've cut off. I'm going to center punch each one. Now I don't want the drill to drill too deep into the knob, so and I know my maximum depth is 5 mil, so I've just sent a little bit of tape. So I've got that nice and tightly clamped. And of course I'm doing this in stages, so this is a tiny pilot, and then I'll go up to the next size. This is the next size up. So I thought about machining the shafts down, machining these down, but that will be a lot of work, so I've actually found I'm using an Imperial drill, a 532, and it seems to be absolutely perfect. I tried it just with a hole in a bit of wood, and it fitted on the shaft perfectly. So I'm just going to try that very, very gently. All right. Moment of truth. Tiny bit of slop, but I can take that up with a tiny dab of epoxy. Right, so I've screwed both of those little stubs on the controller, and it just slips on one end and slips on the other end. So that's basically, it actually looks quite neat, and it feels pretty good. Obviously I haven't taken it for a fly yet. The main thing is, does it fit inside the good old the original box. So all I've done is I've wrapped a tiny bit of masking tape around the shaft just so that this thing has a tiny bit of clutch, and I'm just going to slip this on, and that's perfect. Just slide that bad boy on. And look at that! Look at that! That's fantastic. So that now fits in beautifully. So I can leave those controllers on the whole time. I'm going to take it for a fly in a second, so it doesn't really matter which way it goes in. So that is an absolute winner. So this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted a permanent solution, so I could leave these stalks on and not have to faff around taking these out. So I might actually take the factory ones out, even though I do quite like the knurling on top. Leave them out, put them in a safe little bag as spares. Alright, job done. Go for a fly.